Okay, so Big Trouble in Little China. I watched that, you know, twice in the last couple of days. So let's talk about that. First off, there's so much about that movie that is myself and shall not be infringed. The YouTube channel, Mike. If you watched him at all, he's still on YouTube someplace. I forget his channel name now. Uh, like Jack Burton talking to you over the radio while wearing the Ray Bans. That is both of us. Swear to God. Uh, in addition to that, I love this movie. First off, I love the Tech 9. Why do I love that piece of shit gun? Two reasons. First off, this movie. The second reason is I had a cap gun several times as a kid that was like green and orange and had a detachable magazine and took strip caps, but it was shaped just like a fucking Tech 9. It was cool. I would actually take one of those again just to fuck with and play with. Uh, it was that cool of a gun. I've owned just about every variation of the Tech 9 that's worth owning. Uh, I almost even bought a transferable one at one point because it was only a few grand. It was the situation was I had to pick one of these three, and it was a transferable Tech 9 for like 2,500 bucks, a transferable Mac 11 380 for 3,500 bucks, or a Sterling for 7 grand. And the Sterling was so tempting, but I had $4,000, so if I needed more than that, I was going to have to come up with more than that. So basically, the realistic choices were the Mac and the Tech, and the Mac had all of the accessories and shit and was worth way more money. I kind of wish I could have bought both of those because the Tech 9 I would have kept forever. I would still have a machine gun right now. And I would have had the vertical grip for it because I had one of those pass through my hands that I sold to Tim from Military Arms Channel, I believe. Um, it was a cool gun, and with a vertical grip on it, it would be a cool little blaster. You can even admit, like Tech 9, man, Tech 9 with a vertical grip, way cooler. Although it would throw off the vibes of having the one from, you know, Big Trouble in Little China. Also, in this, the Gerber Tac 2 is his knife in this, for those who are wondering. If you want a knife kind of like it, that doesn't cost $400, the Gerber Tac 2s they haven't made in forever, and if you want to score one, they're expensive on eBay. But if you want a similar knife, Cold Steel makes, I think it's the Command. Let me look again. I saved it. Uh, Cold Steel Counterattack 1, Counterattack 2. Those are very similar knives, but they don't have the serrations. If you took one of those knives and a round file and added some Gerber looking serrations with a round file, it would be a very similar knife to Jack Burton's knife. I might do that to one of those. Might be a future project. Um, Other than that, the cool part is if you do want the Counterattack 2 is the shorter one that's kind of a boot knife, but I don't think it looks as much like the one in the movie, but it's only 35 bucks on eBay right now. So, pro tip. So that's enough distraction about the knives. First off, I love this movie because it's set in Chinatown. Chinatown is awesome. I love this movie because Jack Burton is uh, he is the hero of the 1990s to me. Or even today, he is the cowboy of our modern times. He's a fucking truck driver with a boot knife. That's that's who's your hero in this fucking movie. It's awesome. Um, he gets the Tech 9 by stealing it from some dude. that he kills in fucking Chinatown or whatever. They knock out or something. I don't remember exactly how he goes rolling down a hallway with a wheelchair. They end up with a bunch of guns. Don't ask questions. Uh, the chick in this, uh, really all of the chicks in this, but the one in particular, one that Jack's after, Gracie, whatever her name is awesome. Uh, Forget the other girl with green eyes name, the Chinese one that you basically never see in the movie. Um, she does a good job or whatever. She doesn't look Asian hardly at all. I think that's because they looked for a girl with green eyes that had kind of white skin and black hair, and then tried to make her look as Asian as they could because Chinese girls really don't come with green eyes. Maybe I don't know. It's weird. It's one of those weird notes about this. Also, the Bala song, another knife thing. Sorry, in the airport when they get in the fight with the gangs and shit. This guy just produces like collapsible batons and a fucking Bala song. And it's awesome. You don't see a Bala song very much in fucking movies ever. Big Trouble in Little China, I think, got them made illegal for various reasons. There were a few other movies around that time that like Bala songs, and somewhere in the late '80s, like a bunch of laws popped up about them. Anyway, uh, the magic in the movie is interesting to me. It's very unorthodox and based very much in like this Asian black magic sorcery or whatever that I don't fully really know that much about, but it's cool. And one of the coolest parts to me is it seems very much like the place that they are in San Francisco. It's very much implied that that's much older than Chinatown. Almost like it's implying that the Chinese used to be in America. It would be an interesting thought. Is I wonder how big of a colony in North America the Chinese could have had, uh, before the ice ages. Before the end of civilization and whatever. Let's say that, like, let's take our civilization now to its natural conclusion, but put it in like the Bronze Age, maybe. The natural conclusion of this would have been China pretty much dominating the planet. Even now, that's pretty much happening. It would have been interesting if they dominated the Pacific in reality, and it was, it's just taken them until now to like rebuild that shit. I don't know if that's really the implication there, but like the temple and shit that they're in, that is the sorcerer's shit. It's very old. Maybe it's a whole, well, he built it there and it's magic. And okay, whatever. That's cool. What Jack Burton does in a situation like that, I'll tell you. I love that fucking movie. uh, the six demon bag drink thing. If you want to see a good video, Google or search on YouTube six demon bag drink, and you'll find a channel that's like called How to Drink. He's very entertaining to watch. You should go watch that episode and have that cocktail while you watch Big Trouble in Little China, because like they drink that magical fucking potion and they go fight demons and shit. It's just there's so much of this movie that is like the person that fucking did all of this very clearly was like an alcoholic and a heavy drug user. And I think, in reality, a lot of wizards, quote unquote, in history were very, very drunk. And, they kind of did like a drunken boxer thing through life and combat. And people thought that they were mystical or something. That's why, like, when you see wizards in, anything, They're crazy looking old men. Like, look at Gandalf. Gandalf looks like a homeless person. Wizards look like homeless people. I don't know why, but it's true. In fact, I would put it to you that the most powerful wizard I've ever met was, in fact, a homeless man walking the streets of Tulsa. I should tell that story someday, but we'll save that one for a different video. The old Pork Chop Express can't give up all their secrets in one video. Such a good fucking everything. Everything about his character really is just perfect. I love that, like, when he shoots the first dude he shoots, he's shocked that it worked. And everybody is like, is that the first guy you killed? And he's like, no, absolutely not. And that was totally the first guy you killed. See what else. My favorite part of the movie is when he kills Lo Pan. And right before that, he fucking just plants one on Gracie and has red lipstick just all over his face and just not giving a fuck. I just think it's awesome that during like the big final showdown of the fucking movie, he's, got red lips from making out with the bitch he just married. Then he fucking throws a knife at him. Lo Pan catches it, makes some comment, and then throws it back, and then he catches that knife and flings it into his forehead before anything could even be seen. Like he all does that in one smooth motion. It's fucking badass. He's like reflexes, and like at that point, I'm kind of wondering, okay, was that the first person he killed earlier, or like has he like been involved in these magical fights before? And this is the thing where like, wizards are real, folks. The fucking truck driver talking to you that's half fucking drunk, for all you know, is doing that on the weekends. I've seen stranger shit than that in my life. I'm not saying Lo Pan was 2,000 years old. All I'm saying is that he might have believed he was some crazy old kook that thinks he's a vampire. He wants to suck some Asian girl's blood. Like, this is a highly cartoonized version of this story. But I think what this is someone was on a lot of drugs and went on some adventure to save their girlfriend and then wrote down what happened. That's how it reads. I love this movie. Anything else? At the end of the movie, they kind of set it up for a sequel with the demon thing hanging onto the Pork Chop Express. I think if there's anything that we need today, it is a Big Trouble in Little China sequel starring Jack Burton. And same truck, same shirt, same everything. Like it should be like in Escape from L.A. when they drag him in, and he is literally wearing the same fucking clothes you saw him in the last movie. And it's been 10 years in the movie, and like that's how it should be. It should be set in today's day and age. It's in 2022. Jack Burton's main concern is like, I don't know, getting replaced on the road by fucking robots and shit. Like this should be like a big thing in the movie because pays homage to the fucking trucking heritage of Big Trouble in Little China, and with that going on, that just makes sense to me. Also, having Chinatown, of course, again, Gracie, I don't know what that bitch looks like now, but most people like it when you have pretty ladies in movies instead of ugly ones. So if she's not hot looking, replace her with someone that aged a little bit better, but is age appropriate for him, and have it be some sort of crazy story in Chinatown. Doesn't need to be anything related to the first one, but it needs to have Gracie, and it needs to have the little Asian guy that played his buddy. You get him again, same guy. I'm guessing that the older Asian gentleman that played the tour guide guy is probably dead. I forget his name. He's the same one from Tremors and many, many other movies. Um, Great actor. I can't remember his name at all. Uh, if he's still alive, I would love to see him in it, but I don't think he is. But those are the only people that you would need to get. Gracie, if she's still, you know, looking good for her age, basically. I hate to say it that way, but like it's not about being the hottest fucking smoking bitch on the planet. It's about aging gracefully. And like this is the thing I think older women don't get at all is if you don't age gracefully, you know, surgery and shit just makes that shit worse. Okay? The stuff that made you not age gracefully is oh, that's a whole different conversation. But it's basically you would look 100 times better if you just didn't do a lot of the things that it is that you do, and surgery is one of those things. Enough of a bitch about that or whatever. As far as a story for them to do with a sequel, I do think you start off the movie with him telling the story about how he killed that demon on his truck and came back and picked up Gracie or whatever. Like you should have something where like you know he killed the demon and went back and got her and they ran off to Vegas and got hitched or something like that. Because the kind of the way they left it was like, yeah, he was coming back. He was coming back. And like maybe you don't have to have him getting hitched or whatever, but he should have come back in the flashback you do of him killing the demon at the beginning where you CGI him all to look super fucking young. You should 100% have him come back for Gracie, and you could have it to where they're married, where they're dating, where they're whatever. Just don't do the thing where they're broken up and hate each other. Like that's stupid. And don't do the Tom Cruise thing from Maverick where they're broken up and don't hate each other but don't talk. That didn't make any sense either. That's real life, I guess, but like that's so many people I know. So many people if they would just like get out of their own way, they would be amazed. Well, this has been almost 20 minutes of this. Trying to think if there's another cool part of Big Trouble in Little China that really stood out to me. It's funny. It's a funny movie. It's not a comedy, but it's a funny movie. And that's the thing that like I think a lot of action movies don't get is how to have a sense of humor while still being an action movie. And this is the thing where like my buddy Blazer and I should write an action movie because he and I have watched enough of these that are good and are kind of funny in and of ourselves and like to bounce ideas off of each other. We would write a hell of one of these. I know we would. It's we'd have to tone down some of the dumb Arnold references. That would be our only fucking hang up. But it's one of those things that like acting is easy, comedy is hard. It's very much in the same that you know making the action part of any movie is easy in reality. Okay, a lot of people's issues with action movies, as far as something to make, is budget, and in order, yeah, that's a whole thing. It's hard to do a low budget action movie without killing people or damn near it. Back in the 70s and shit, stuntmen were hardcore and they got paid very little money to be in the hospital for 6 months. It's a weird life. Well, that does it for this. All of the actors in this are some of the greatest Asian actors in Hollywood of the 1980s and 90s. It's a who's who of some of my favorite Asian actors. You should go watch this movie. It's a genre unto itself. This is a Western. It is a Western set in the 20th century, and it's kind of like Shanghai Noon. Shanghai Noon is a Chinese Western. This is a Chinese Western set in Chinatown, San Francisco. And I love every part of this movie. Thanks for watching. I hope you like Big Trouble in Little China too. I hope you like me spitballing about a sequel. And this has been my review. Thanks.